Yes.
Yeah, so I am Bindu Simri. I am part of the S4 product management team from SAP Labs Bangalore. I work mainly in the area of finance. I work with the customer. I work on the customer co-innovation projects in the area of machine learning and finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you, Bindu. Uh, uh, Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So my name is Pulak Das. I work as a core finance consultant. So here currently I am engaged with a regional implementation group, commonly known as REAC, which is a part of the SAP's customer care program. So I generally engaged with various customers who have been part of the customer care program through the implementation or conversion journey. So today I'll be taking you some of the core functionalities of SAP S/4HANA Finance. Yeah, Bindu. So maybe.
So Bindu, can you take it over? So you're going to start, right?
Yes, Mukesh. Hi. So as part of this session, what we would like to cover is about an overview for S4HANA as a product, whoever is new to this. Also a deep dive into what's new in SAP S4HANA in the area of finance. And we will summarize it with the intelligent enterprise use cases in S4HANA, mainly in the domain of finance. So when we talk about the S4HANA overview, what we have done or what we have done in the past so far is when we talk about a finance perspective, we work more on the operations side, and we get lesser time or lesser effort to be put into getting insights from whatever task we are doing. So this is one area where we want to improve, and by bringing a lot of automation into the picture, we wanted to reduce the repetitive mundane task which we are doing on the operations side, and putting in those manual efforts and time into bringing more real-time insights into the business. So when we are saying real-time insights, this is by looking at the actuals or looking at the backward data in the system, we are bringing in the insights. Now, in today's era, the next level of step is to bring in the predictive analytics into the picture, where not just the actuals, not just the history, we are forecasting something, we are predicting something based on what can happen in the future. So that is where the advanced analytics is taking you. So with the support of strategy, with the support of innovations coming into the picture, you now have operations limited or automated to a major extent, getting real-time insights and getting the predictive insights into the business. So that is where we say S4HANA is playing a role, which is giving you real-time processing. It is giving you end-to-end analytics capabilities. It is providing you a lot of automation capabilities and next-generation processes like machine learning, RPA. All such innovative technologies are coming into the product. So this is, even though this is as an add-on onto the product or maybe embedded into the product, these facilities or capabilities are coming up. Like all of you know, we do have both the flavors of cloud and on-premise on the SAP S/4HANA. What you see on top are the cloud release strategy. We are having each release per quarter. So in 2019, the last release was 1911, and in 1 year there would be 4 releases in each quarter. So what the latest release what we have had is the 2002 release, whereas in the on-premise we will have 1 release per year. So the latest release, what has been released from SAP side is 1909, and which has happened in the last September. What else comes up throughout the year is feature pack and the support package. So this is a major difference what we can see between on-premise and cloud with respect to the release strategy. So this was just to give you a glimpse about the product and the release strategy. Now we will take you through the key features and functionalities which are there in finance in the product. Pulak, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bindu. So As Bindu mentioned on the various releases and then the functionalities. So next, what I would like to cover for you is there are a few topics which has come up as an innovative solution compared to the previous ECC version with the journey of S/4HANA. So I'll be giving a little bit brief on the various versions on S/4HANA Finance, and then we will see the innovative solutions what has been done to the areas of asset accounting, business partner, cash management. That's a completely different solution which has been come along with like credit management, profit analysis, material ledger, and so on. We know that it's all started with when we spoke about S/4HANA. So if you see the pictorial representation here, the first, it all started with finance functions where all the finance processes, first it was released as a version of 1503, and subsequently there was a next release which was on 1605 version. So during these releases, what is to happen is all the innovations or all the functionality which was brought in, they were mainly focused or concentrated on the finance areas. Subsequently, if you see the broader areas was when it has been released with 1511, 1610 and onwards. So it all comprises along with finance, even though your logistic functionalities and also your cloud versions and other things also came into the picture. So as part of the on-premise solution, if you can see now after 1511, you have finance fully integrated with the innovations in the logistic areas. Then it was 1610, then followed by 1709, 1809, and 1909 is the latest version of on-premise. So broadly, when we speak, definitely those functionalities what we will be talking about, let it be any of the core functions or core areas or sub-functions within the finance, and then the stakeholders. You call it as a regular transaction monitoring, or you call it as a like month-end or period-end closing, or from the compliance point of view, or managing overall reporting and dashboard, where the head of the finance of any organizations would like to see with granular details whenever it is required. So we'll be talking about those, how those will be covered during the subsequent functionalities. When we talk about innovation, so in finance, we know that the data, they are stored. So we talk about sometimes on the data which is going to be posted as per the planned business plan in future. And also when you talk about the finance, mainly we talk about the historical data and then slicing, dicing the data depending on the various requirement of finance and related functionalities. So when you talk about data, so it all started with the line item level, transaction level data. So in S/4HANA Finance, the key innovation was that how things can be merged into a single entry table, and then which will comprise all the transaction level details, where compared to the earlier design. In earlier design, what used to happen? Your general ledger used to have a separating reporting structure, tables, and subsequently you had the management accounting, which generally we know as a controlling module in SAP, separate like tables, separate data structures for profitability analysis. You talk about material ledger or asset accounting. So all these tables and data, they used to be updated at various technical function models, or you call at the various program level to those tables. And when you go for the reconciliation, they used to be like whether you prepare a BW report or you use any kind of AB3 report previously. So you always have to ensure that they have been designed properly, the report outputs being designed where all the tables are reconciled, and then nothing has been left out in any of the programming or coding level. So what it used to now, what has been done is the concept of universal journal, which has come up. So in this universal journal, it's a key central table where all the elements or all the characteristics of a particular business transactions gets updated. So as a result, some of the key tables which were there as part of general ledger or profitability analysis or asset accounting, they have been eliminated from the S4HANA design. So they all are now available as in the part of the universal journal and available in the central table, which is called as AC DOCA. We'll be learning about that table in the subsequent slides. So along with the universal journal, what it does is there is a concept is called as a extension ledger. So in extension ledger, what happens previously in the previous ERP version, what used to happen used to let's say there is an internal requirement or management requirement to have certain kind of adjustments or any kind of management related adjustments or posting which need to be done. So as a solution consultant, what we used to do is we used to design the complete special purpose ledger, and then we used to replicate all the data, and then after that we post all the specific transactions which we need. So that used to be very much redundant, and then cumbersome and then complex in design and then performing the month-end activity. So in S4HANA, what happened with the universal journal? So with multiple ledger concept, there is another ledger concept which has come up as the extension ledger. So this extension ledger, what it happens is it as an additional ledger indicator which gives you the options to post management specific transactions, which will help you later when you would like to take any specific report for the management purpose. Let's say, for example, any kind of a month-end provision or year-end provision you would like to make, which is not as per your statutory finance rules or regulations, rather than it is a management need. So none of the special purpose ledgers are supported and suggested in S4HANA. Rather, you can use and the latest functionality of extension ledger for your management related needs. After the ledger concept, next is asset accounting. So asset accounting, what happens previously, what used to happen is asset used to work completely different than the GL account, and end of the, like whenever you do the posting, it just only consolidate the entry, update the GL account, the details which you used to get it from the asset related line item tables. In S4HANA, what happens? It works seamlessly along with the universal journal. So anytime you do a posting, it updates to the universal journal in the table. So what it does is previously you can only post one real-time posting, and there is only one depreciation year which used to post in real time. It is all used to be a statistical entry. With new S4HANA, what happens? You can go and define your depreciation areas, and you can post them on real time. So what it helps you with a more detailed analysis and detailed report which you would like to bring and develop for as per your various accounting standard or accounting gap rules and regulations. If the company is a multinational company, you would like to have different depreciation areas and as per the regulations. So that has been done, and also with respect to reconciliation, when you would like to drill down from the GL account balances and you would like to go to the nth level of the transaction. So in the last level, you can find out your asset code from the financial reports. Previously, you used to see your financial report only at the GL level. You were never able to get to the asset code when you used to financial reports. But now with S4HANA, you can use your financial reports to drill down even to the asset. And there would be specific reports for the asset accounting, but yeah, this is a functionality which will be available for you for better viewing of the report. And by this, what happens? So maximum cases, if there is a concern, like sometimes, let's say you're any kind of a periodic transaction update terminates or anything. Previously, there used to be some instances where there used to be a difference sometime between an asset and GL balance. So those kind of changes, those kind of issues has been eliminated with this design change. And also with respect to depreciation run, so now there are possibilities that you can run the depreciation even if there is, in some instances, if still there are issues, you can go ahead and complete your posting, and you can analyze your log of assets depreciation run, and then you can correct those errors, and then you can rerun the asset accounting. So this helps a little bit of fast tracking your closing your period and year-end closing process. So there are a few blocks which has been written on this, which I have highlighted in the slides, and there are also a few more blocks which is there. Blocks are supporting links which you will be finding in the end of the slide. Next topic is business partner. This is one of the key point or key object which has been drastically changed from the existing ECC to S/4HANA. So previously, who would have been used treasury management or FSM solutions or IBFX, that's the real estate management solution, you would have been very much familiar with the business partner concept. However, along with the business partner concept, there are for the traditional accounts receivable, accounts payable, SD, MM modules used to have customer and vendor separately. So this used to be a little bit complex in the maintaining the master data point of view. So as a simplification process, the move has been centralized to the business partner concept. So in the business partner in S/4HANA, so what you're going to have is you will not have separate customer or vendor master creation. You will create everything as a business partner. Let it be any of the existing solutions of TRM or real estate or FHM. Similarly, they're going to be created as business partner for SD and MM modules too. So what happens? They will be having separate roles as a customer, vendor. If a customer is specific to any of the process areas, for say, if it is part of my credit management or part of my real estate functionalities, then specific roles can be activated for those customers. But depending on the process, the customers can be or vendors can be maintained depending on the process cycle. However, why this design? So this is mainly with the concept that whenever a person is being tied up or is connected with your business, so you get a complete view of the organizations or the person who is connected to your business with a single ID, and that ID gives you the complete visibility of the particular person or organizations, whether he is a customer or a vendor, what is the overall business or financials or any other let's say credit scores or credit limits or whatever you would like to see. You can all track it through the one code that is called as a business partner. So there is a note which is being mentioned here. So this note gets updated on a timely basis on this business partner functionalities. So you may follow this note for any further details if you would like to know. After the business partner, next is cash management. So in cash management, so previously also in ECC 6, cash management was there in a various forms. So in the current in S/4HANA cash management, so now the concept has been called as a bank account management and bank account management lite. If you buy a specific, let's say you buy the standard version of SAP with a new cash management, so your bank account management lite version, which is like a vanilla version, I can mention like, so that is available along with license and the BOM. However, if you would like to go for a full-fledged functionality of bank account management, that will attract specific license which you need to buy. However, the difference are with BAM Lite, you would be able to like you can say, like you can configure your bank accounts, you can carry out your payment run, you can generate your pay order or payment files. Like if you would like to do electronic fund transfer, you can generate those files and all with standard BAM Lite solution. However, the organizations where you would like to have certain functionalities, for example, you would like to have workflows where, let's say, your payment batch is generated, but you would like to use your workflows, or you would like to have some connectors where the structures are standard delivered, where you can just configure those structures based on the banks, what the format they would need. And then you will have some standard connectors where you can connect it through the PI, SAP PIPO tool to the bank system. And then you can define various kind of integration. Mainly, like you'll have mostly from the approval process, like let's say you would like to maintain some kind of overdraft limit, and then some hierarchies you can maintain in displaying your bank structure. So this is comes with a full-fledged functionality. Earlier you were using like bank communication management. So bank communication management in S/4HANA has been enhanced to a large extent and has been delivered as a bank account management solution. So after cash management, next is the credit management. In credit management, what used to happen earlier is, so we used to use it as part of FI AR as the account receivable module, where we used to maintain the like credit limits, and then particularly your credit line items or the billing line items used to check, and then it used to give you the like depending on that errors or blockings and all those used to configure. So in S/4HANA, you will be getting a complete enhanced functionality of credit management. So this comes with a lot of credit rule engines, and also it gives you a lot of options to, let's say, for example, you would like to integrate with the some of the credit rating, let's say CRISIL or any other like system where you would like to integrate and bring down all those credit scores and then maintain your system. So those kind of functionalities as a full-fledged credit management, you can have them. But the full-fledged credit management is a different license. They need to be, if you would like to use, they need to be part of your BOM. If you would not like to go for the full-fledged credit management, you can still use the basic S/4HANA credit management functionality, which is available. Yeah, there is some blogs and notes also, which has been highlighted. They may be referred for the details on credit management. Profitability analysis. This is one of the key area where a large innovation which has happened. Whomsoever are familiar with ECC6, you would be knowing that we used to use costing-based COPA, where we used to use the data structures of characteristics and value fields. So now with S/4HANA and introduction of universal ledger and then the centralized table of AC/DOCA in finance, so now it is advised that you go with account-based COPA. However, both the account-based COPA and costing-based COPA will be supported. But however, all the future innovations and developments are going to be based on the account-based COPA. So to enable this account-based COPA, the secondary cost elements has moved out from your controlling module, and they have been now designed as like GL account with a separate category as secondary cost element. So why so? Why it was like one of the key design change which was being done. So many of my customers, when I used to do the implementation, what used to happen is we used to have the COPA structure where after the posting of the billing document, we used to transfer all the your COGS split or from the costing structure, from the material valuation, we should transfer it to the COPA. And your financial data used to be remain in the GL account structure and then general ledger document, and we used to transfer it to the COPA. The billing document gets online transferred, and then we used to pull the split of the material valuation from the cost estimate table. Then we used to use a lot of assessment of the production cost and overheads, which finally we used to arrive at the gross margin. However, it's like rarely that we would to be able to match to the exact PSI in finance, the gross margin and the gross profit of finance. However, currently in the design change and in the centralized table, so it enables you that you need not to have a separate report where you would like to reconcile. By design, from your financial report, you can drill down to the product or any kind of a line of product or any segment, whatever you would like to design, you can drill down from your finance report and find out if there is any difference or any kind of reconciliation issue. You can find it from the same table. So reconciliation between your controlling your management report and your financial report has been drastically changed here, and it ensures that users doesn't spend much of the time in reconciling the FI and CO data. As I mentioned, so your account-based COPA and costing-based COPA both are supported. However, your account-based COPA is the way forward, and we strongly recommend that you go ahead with account-based COPA for your future implementations. However, the customers who are using costing-based COPA, there is no problem for them. They can continue to do so. Next topic is on material ledger. So material ledger concept is not new, but however, what is to happen is whenever you talk about the material ledger in the earlier version, always it used to be understood that material ledger means its actual costing. However, it is not the case. The moment you talk about the material ledger, you have multiple functionalities in material ledger. So you can have your inventory evaluated in multiple currencies. So this helps you, like if you have any statutory requirement to have the valuation of your stock in multiple currencies. So this facilitates you. And in case of transfer pricing, let's say you have a transfer pricing, you have multiple business scenarios, and you do inter-unit transactions. So material ledger helps you in capturing and enabling you to report all those transfer prices. And then the third one is actual costing. So actual costing, when we say, this is applicable morely with respect to, let's say, for example, there is a manufacturing unit where we talk about that products are standard, and then in the period end, we need to actualize all the variances, let it be labor variance or material variances. Those you need to load it and arrive at the actual costing. In S/4HANA, material ledger is the mandatory like functionality which need to be activated. So, however, the moment you activate your material ledger, it doesn't mean that you need to follow your actual costing. So, actual costing is an optional. If, let's say, for example, there is any discrete industry, standard costing works well for them. They need to activate material ledger, but they need not to activate actual costing. They can still continue as per the standard costing what they have. But yeah, this helps with, because as I mentioned earlier, so again, it integrates with your universal journal where you get all the material details. So previously what we used to do is we used to join the logistic table and finance table to arrive many of our logistic reports. So now this has been made easy for you to derive any kind of details and reports from the SCDOCA table, which is the universal journal table. Integrated financial planning. So this is about the planning offering, I think. So we know that we have the cloud version and then on-premise version. So in case of cloud version, whosoever have a subscription to the SSC, that is SAP Analytics Cloud, where you can have all your planning data and everything on the cloud version, and you can use that. But for any customer who is already using BPC, they have BPC. However, they would like to continue the BPC system for their business planning, so they can do so. So in BPC, it will be like on-premise version where you can continue and you can upgrade and continue your planning work. So there are various notes which has been also suggested here that will give you a little bit more detail to that. So my next slide is a little bit which gives you the how the evolution of BPC has been done till now, and as part of the SAP Cloud Platform, you have the SAP Analytics Cloud, which is available for you, and both this works seamlessly on an integrated environment with your S/4HANA system. Next is group reporting. So we know that consolidation has been one of the key topic, and mainly for all the finance process owners. So previously we used to some customer who were on SAP R3, but they don't have a BPC system. So either they used to use the trading partner concept, they used to extract the data, and they used to prepare the consolidation in the Excel sheet. Some customer who were having the consolidation tool, it can be the your BPC or any kind of third-party tool. So what used to happen is, whether you have a SAP system or you have a non-SAP system, you used to use your data extractions manually, or the system you used to load it to your consolidation tool, and you do all the consolidations and everything there. So what happened is, because of as a long-term vision where and consolidation is no more like a separate function, which is part and parcel of the overall operations of finance. So it has been integrated with your universal journal, and then the financial transaction posting. So the module is called as a group reporting, which is part of SAP S/4HANA Finance offering. So in this S/4HANA filing, it's like add-on solution which is on the S/4HANA Finance overall solution. There you can define all your rules engines and consolidation rule engine, and then parameters on which you like to do your eliminations and everything. So whenever there is a posting or accounting happens, so system automatically reads the rule engine and it updates the records in the group reporting specific table. So in the month end, you need not to wait for, let's say, sometimes it may used to take a week or more for preparation of consolidation report. However, now with execution of, there will be a dashboard which you'll be running a few group reporting programs in the as part of your period and activity, and there are some 6 to 7 steps. After performing those steps, your group report will be ready for use. So that will help you in faster period closing and reporting. So, and also it works with seamlessly with integration with HCDOCA table. It will be easy for you also to track in case of there is any discrepancy in your consolidation report. You can track it back to the source document from where the transaction has initiated. Yeah, so as per the deployment options, so if you have BPC already, you can use the BPC as a solution, and you can continue that as a solution. And if you would like to opt for the group reporting, as let's say there is a net new customer who like to go for either BPC or group reporting, so they can opt for group reporting, or else if they would like to continue as a with BPC, they can do so. So next is the accounting, advanced compliance reporting and closing process. So along with those design, what are the innovations and designs which have come up? There are a few advanced reports and some kind of enhanced reports which has been offered as part of the standard report. They can be executed, and they are just like for your reference, and then you can execute even if you would like to have like your specific reports similar to that. You can design and have them also. But yeah, as I said, like many of the features of the Universal Journal, and then the usage of Universal Journal and the output what you see in this report, they will be depicting what are the benefits of approach of the Universal Journal in this report. Predictive accounting. Predictive accounting is a concept which has generated on a requirement that accounting always has been on the historical data. However, for a advanced reporting, and sometimes, let's say, for example, I would like to predict what is the revenues. It's not like, sometimes for example, if you see this a picture where you have a sales order which has been booked in the month of February. So there are rule engines which you can configure for the predictive accounting, and then based on that, in the subsequent months, you can generate as part of your period end closing. It predicts and it posts specific accounting entries, and these accounting entries which I was mentioning as part of your extension ledger. So it can post to an extension ledger as an predictive accounting, and they are purely for your management reporting purpose. This will not be a part of your statutory or financial report. Before I conclude my slides on this functionality, so some are like critical design decisions whenever you go ahead and implement for your S/4HANA finance solutions. So like data archiving, your customer and vendor integration. Let's say, for example, you would be having already the customer and vendor data, and you need to now convert it to the business partner with a single ID. So that will be one of the area where you need to focus, and you need to see how easily you can migrate them as a business partner. New GL and document splitting. They have been continuing from ECC 6. There is no change. However, your new GL and document splitting is a functionality which is always designed and being deployed based on what is the statutory financial requirement. Do you need an intermediate trial balance or not? So depending on that, you need to decide. Fiori, SAP comes with a lot of standard delivered Fiori applications, Fiori apps, which can be used by the users. And beyond that, maybe if you would like to have some more custom Fiori applications to be developed, that you can design too. Enhanced functionality options like cash management, which I mentioned about, like your bank account management, light version, and full-fledged bank account management. Your cash management and credit management, which I talked about, you can use a lighter version, or if you'd like to go for a full-fledged credit management or cash management solution, you can go ahead. Account versus costing-based profitability, as I mentioned, both the approach are supported. However, the directions or the future investments will be on account-based COPA. We strongly recommend that you go ahead with account-based COPA. Financial planning, like BPC and SSE. So SSE is for your cloud version. You can opt for the group reporting. So BPC, if you are already using the BPC and you would like to continue with that, you can do that. But for new customers, if you like to have your consolidation in the same S/4HANA system, in the core transaction system, you can opt for the group reporting, which is an add-on solutions on the S/4HANA Finance core modules. These are a few reference videos and links which I have updated here. So this can be referred for some additional details, like you can go through them, and this will help you some for the details. So with this, I would like to hand it over to Bindu. Thank you all.
Thanks, Pulak. So we will take you through the intelligent enterprise finance use cases now. So when we talk about the intelligent enterprise, when we talk about the intelligent enterprise technologies, what we are talking about is conversational AI, intelligent RPA, and machine learning. So conversational AI, what we have in SAP S/4HANA is a digital assistant, which is called a copilot, which is used across the business users to send notifications or to send business objects or to send text messages or images. So this is like a chatbot where you can provide information across the business users, ask for details or ask for workflow clearances, etc. Another topic is on the intelligent RPA, where, like I said earlier, to reduce the maintenance and the tasks which are there, which are taking more time and repetitive, we can create RPA bots which will work, which will reduce your effort and your time in executing the same task repeatedly. Some examples of intelligent RPA use cases are creation of a payment advice or creating a manual journal entry by looking at the data in an Excel or in a PDF. Another intelligent technology which we use to optimize the business is on the machine learning. In the machine learning, what we are covering is by looking at the historic data in your system, the machine is proposing some proposals for your business. So if you have an enormous amount of data in your system, which is helping you taking a decision, it could be an example could be a cash application. Maybe I'll take you through the details of cash application in this, just a sec. Yeah. So if you take an example of SAP cash application, why we have come up with this use case is as part of a period and closure activity, an accountant, a receivable accountant job is to match the invoices and the payment. Though we have static rules in the system, there could be cases where the matching has not happened or the clearance has not happened because of some exceptions. It could be because the payment advice is missing, memo line is missing, or maybe the amount is same for multiple invoices. So in such a case, the job of the accountant would be to go through these documents or speak to the customer or speak to the relevant department and figure out which are the matching documents and do the clearing manually. So here the machine learning is playing a role wherein the machine learning will read your historical payment documents, the invoices, the bank statements, etc. The machine will propose you what could be a matching proposal. So what could be the data which can be posted, which will be a match between the bank statement and the invoices. Now this will reduce the manual mundane task of the accountant. This can increase the speed and the efficiency. So now how the cash application can do this? So this is in a two-step. First is a training process, and the second is where you're actually running this machine on your set of data. So the training process includes training the model with all the bank statements and the historical documents of your system. The model is getting trained. The model already have around 40 to 60 matching criteria. If your data is having more criteria, the model will be trained accordingly. And then once the model is trained, which would take at least 2 to 3 weeks of time, then you can actually run the model with the actual data in your system. Now, when you execute this particular cash application, you can also set configuration thresholds in the system, which will help you to tell, okay, if the model is giving me a proposal which is more than 99% or let's say 90%, then only I need a proposal. Or if I'm saying the threshold is 99%, only then I need to post the document automatically. Also, you can set in the schedule saying if you want to post the document automatically or not. So until such time you get that confidence in posting the document, you can refrain from do so and do the posting automatically. The model will only give you the proposals. So this is one capability which is there in the cash application scenario. Additionally to this, this package also includes the payment advice extraction capability. So today we will have the payment advice as a soft copy in your email, in your Outlook, or in your system. So it is a task is to read this document and create the payment advice in the system. Instead of that, this cash application machine learning service will help you to read this unstructured data and then create a structured payment advice in the system. So the cash application as the add-on cash application will help you to read the payment advice. This can also be used to do the matching later when we are executing the scheduled job for the cash application. So this is one example in the machine learning space. Likewise, we do also have the embedded machine learning capabilities in the area of GRIR reconciliation as well. When we move on to the robotic process automation, I would like to list here a number of RPA scenarios in the finance area, which has been delivered from SAP S/4HANA Cloud 1911 or on-premise 1909 onwards. So these are few of the scenarios where you could do automatic upload of journal entries or manual entries, dispute management runs, and it will read the claims from an Excel and send emails. So there are a couple of scenarios here in the RPA area which will help reduce this mundane task and activities for the accountants. So one such case is this automated upload of manual entries using the API, where the accountant needs to open the Outlook, receive the journal entry file which is received in an email attachment. It is a job of accountant to run the journal entry bot to read the file. So instead of using the accountant doing this job, now the bot will open the Outlook, bot will read the journal entry file, bot will process the data in the file and creates the data load, which will be created into the system using the API. So this is being created as an RPA scenario, which is available in the best practice. If you go to the best practice explorer for S/4HANA, you would see all the RPA scenarios which I've listed here with test scripts, how to run and how to execute. So this will give a lot of information about the RPA scenarios which is in place for S/4HANA Cloud. Yes, with that, I would like to...
Bindu, quickly to reconfirm, these are available as part of standard S4, right? And not separately licensed, or are they separately licensed?
I think this depends, Mukesh. So a few of the scenarios could be, so this information also would be there in the best practice explorer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so with that, I would like to conclude on the actual feature information. So this is an OpenSAP course which is available in opensap.com, where we talk about more about the RPA. Yeah, so thanks a lot for your time and listening to us. If there are any questions, or you can contact us on the below email ID.
So I think there is already a question on the chat from Arun Prakash. So Arun, he's asking, in the case of extension ledger, can we go after implementation? In our case, we have 1 year data. Now, as per our requirement, we want to go for extension ledger. So Pulak, would you like to answer that?
Yeah. So generally, we recommend that extension ledger as part of your initial configuration you should activate, because it sits on top of the this one. You can go ahead, but with respect to that, if there is a need of any kind of a SLO service from the product, I am not sure as on date. Maybe I can get back on this, whether this needs a specific SLO service to activate in between a live system.
Thank you. So anyone else has any questions? I just unmuted everyone so that you can ask your questions if you have any. So Manoj, you have any questions? So meanwhile, I'm going to launch a poll. Would be great if you can just respond to the poll as well, so that we collect feedback about the session today. So any questions for Pulak or Bindu? Hello. Hello. Just wanted to quickly make sure, is everyone able to view the poll as well? And
yeah, Mukesh, we can.
okay. So If there are no further questions from anybody, I'd like to thank everyone for taking time and attending today's session. It is important that you share your feedback with us by actually, answering the questions that I've put together on the poll. We'll make sure that, help us bring better content, which you can then find beneficial as well. So there are about 5-6 questions, easy, quick questions. Please do share the response so that we can actually prepare going forward topics accordingly. Thank you. So I already see some 8-9 votes coming in. Okay, so I'll just leave it open for about another minute or so. Meanwhile, any other questions for Pulak or Bindu? Okay, so looks like there are no questions, Bindu and Pulak. Thanks a lot for taking time and running us through the session. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Mukesh.
For everyone
Thank
else,
you, everyone.
I'll see you in the next SIG meeting. Based on the feedback that you have shared, we'll bring the discussion to the WhatsApp group and take it from there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.